Be me. 21, college junior, poli-sci major. Always had strong takes in class debates, low-key hate men. Recently been binging paternity court videos on YouTube while procrastinating. Can't help rolling my eyes. Grown men crying over, is the kid mine? To me it looks insecure as hell, like, why even marry or commit if you don't trust her? My friends laugh when I rant about it, say I should start posting my takes. I kinda like being the one with the sharp line in the group chat. Never thought one day any of it would hit closer to home than just internet drama. Also have a younger brother, 18, still in high school. Quiet kid, kinda nerdy, always buried in bio textbooks, says he wants to become a doctor. He takes after my dad, clearly I don't. I tease him a lot, try to shape him so he doesn't grow up like the bitter men I see online. Call him out when he makes dumb jokes, remind him not to be that guy who ends up on paternity court crying. He usually just shrugs, doesn't argue back. I take it as a win. Maybe I'm doing my part, raising him better than society does. One night at dinner, my brother starts talking about this new assignment. His bio teacher wants them to map family traits, like hair color, eye color, maybe who wears glasses. Says it's to show how stuff gets passed down, genes in real life, instead of just the textbook chart. Extra credit if you use real data, even better if you can test a parent too. Mom frowns. Where are you even supposed to buy something like that? Sounds unnecessary for a school project, he shrugs and says. I could just order one of those DNA kits online. My teacher said they're cheap if you catch a sale. Pulls out his phone mid-bite, already searching. 2-day shipping. If I get it now, results will be back before the project's due. Mom's fork freezes midair before she sets it down a little too carefully. Oh, she says, way too light. Do you really need that for some homework? Dad leans in though, looking almost interested for once. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Those kits aren't just about ancestry. They check markers you can map out in class. Makes it easier to show the patterns instead of guessing he's talking calm, practical, the way he does when explaining how to change oil or file taxes. Adds, your teacher probably wants you to see how science works with real data, not just textbook examples. Brother grins, clearly sold. So we all just spit in a tube, right? Dad nods, takes a sip of water. Yeah, simple enough. Send it in, results come back in a couple weeks. If it helps you learn, I'm game. Mom forces a smile, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Do they really need the whole family though? She asks it too quickly, like she's trying to steer the conversation away from herself. Bro just laughs. Extra credit if I include a parent. If we all do it, that's like double bonus points, right? Dad chuckles, claps him on the shoulder. Then let's do it. Might as well make it thorough. Mom tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, voice a touch tight. Well, if it's for school? She trails off, pushing food around her plate. Dad glances at her for a beat, expression unreadable, then goes back to eating like nothing's wrong. Bro turns to me with a smirk. When this proves I've got better genes than you, you're buying me boba. I roll my eyes, confident it'll go the other way around. A few days later, the kits arrive in a small cardboard box. Bro rips it open like it's Christmas, waving the tubes around. See? Easy. Spit, seal, send Dad reads the instructions, nodding like it's a project manual. Don't eat or drink 30 minutes before, make sure the cap's tight. Simple enough. Mom lingers by the counter, arms folded. Are we really mailing our DNA to strangers? Dad shrugs. It's not like we're curing cancer, it's for his grade. Bro rolls his eyes. Mom, it's literally for school. Extra credit. We all sit at the table filling the tubes like it's some weird family ritual. Bro's grinning, Dad's calm, Mom's stiff but going along. I'm half laughing, thinking this is peak overkill for high school homework. Snap a pic of the box before sealing it, toss it in the group chat with my friends. My brother's assignment turning into a family ancestry project, LOL. Men stay paranoid. Mom tapes the box shut a little too hard, like she's mad at cardboard. Dad drops it at the post office the next morning, and just like that, the countdown starts. A couple weeks later, the email finally hits. Brother's the first one to check, practically jumps onto the couch with his phone. Results are in, he announces like he just won a lottery. We all crowd around, Mom hovering behind, Dad wiping his hands on a dish towel. Bro's scrolling, grinning, until his smile dips just a little. That's weird. Screen says half-sibling match between me and him, not full sibling like we both expected. Bro laughs it off, tilts the phone toward me. Guess the algorithm's buggy. We obviously have the same parents, right? Bro tries to lighten it up, scrolling back and forth on the app. Laughing my ass off. Guess one of us is adopted. He nudges me with his elbow, still half laughing, but the joke lands sharp in my chest. I shove him playfully, but the sting lingers longer than it should. Dad's silence in that moment feels louder against the noise, like he heard the same joke but didn't find it funny at all. I roll my eyes, dramatic. Duh. Pretty sure we picked you up from Craigslist. Dad's face goes still, the kind of quiet he does when he's thinking too hard. Mom leans in quick, too quick, with a chirpy, "These kits glitch all the time. It's just for school anyway. Don't overthink it." Bro shrugs, already moving on, but I notice Dad staring at the screen a second longer, like something in him just shifted. Still, I couldn't resist screenshotting the screen and tossing it in the group chat with my friends. Caption, "Laughing my ass off DNA kits, glitching. Apparently, me and my bro, only half-related men, stay paranoid for no reason. Usually they'd drop laughing emojis or hype me up, but this time, the thread goes quiet. Finally, one girl replies, that's not really how those tests usually mess up." Another just sends a single, "Not sure why they aren't laughing too?" Next day, bro takes the printouts to school. Bio teacher is hyped, saying not many students go the real data route. They look over the slides together, teacher squints at one. Looks like one parent's DNA didn't match the expected inheritance pattern. Might want to double check that data, writes it in the margin of his notes. That night at dinner, he repeats it casual as hell. "Mr. Ramirez said one parent's markers didn't line up. Probably just the kit, though." The words drop like a rock in the middle of the table. Mom's smile freezes. Her wine glass clinks too hard when she sets it down. Dad puts his fork down slow, jaw tight. He doesn't say a word, just keeps chewing like the taste turns sour. I laugh, trying to break the tension. "Seriously? Y'all stressing over a homework gimmick?" Relax. No one joins in. A few days later, Dad's in the garage talking to his buddy Mike. They're leaning on the workbench, voices low. I'm grabbing laundry from the dryer when I catch it. Mike. "So the kid flagged half-sibling, huh? Man, you sure that kid's yours?" And my chest spikes hot. Like, how dare he even suggest that? I slam the dryer door shut harder than I meant to and march out. "Seriously? You're gonna sit here gossiping about my family like it's some TV rerun? Pathetic." Mike then says, "Hey, I'm not trying to start drama. But if the numbers don't line up, you can't just laugh it off." I snap back, it was a glitch. School project data, that's all. Not everything has to turn into a soap opera. Dad doesn't jump in to defend me, or himself. Mike shakes his head, voice softer now, but sharper too. "I've seen guys ignore stuff like this before. It eats you alive if you don't check. Trust me, man. Better to know than to wonder every damn day." I cut him off, heat rising in my throat. "You're acting like you're on Maury, waiting for some big reveal. This is real life. Not a circus." My eyes flick to Dad, waiting for him to agree with me, to tell Mike to shut up. Instead, Dad finally speaks. "Sometimes you need proof to know what's real." That line rattles me harder than Mike's needling because Dad doesn't sound angry or defensive, but hollow, like the doubt already carved a space inside him. I fold my arms tight, trying to cover the sting with arrogance. "So that's it? One glitch on an app and you're both ready to rewrite 20 years of family?" Mike meets my glare, steady. "Not rewrite, just confirm. If there's nothing to hide, then proof only gives peace." Dad doesn't add anything else. He just turns back to his tools, the clink of a wrench against metal closing the conversation, and somehow that silence weighs heavier than if he'd shouted. The following week, Dad takes a day off work, says he has an appointment, but doesn't explain. Later that week, I'm hanging his jacket up and feel something stiff in the inner pocket. Pull it out. A long envelope, corners bent like it had been jammed in too quick. Across the front, "Confidential, Paternity Testing Services," stamped in red. The flap's already broken, but inside the papers are folded crisp, official seal pressed at the top. My stomach flips when I notice his signature scrawled at the bottom of the consent form. He didn't just think about it, he already went through with it. I confront him, voice sharp. "Are you serious? You're actually doing this?" He meets my eyes, calm in a way that makes me more unsettled. I'd rather know the truth than pretend. If there's nothing to hide, the results won't hurt anyone. I roll my eyes, mutter "insecure" under my breath, but deep down, the word doesn't land as confidently as it used to. For the first time, a flicker of doubt gnaws at me. What if the test doesn't clear things up? What if it proves the dudes on YouTube I laughed at weren't paranoid? Just right? Impossible. Next day, brother asks me to follow him to get boba, pays for mine even though I think my genes are worse than his, and suddenly for a while, this DNA test nonsense was off my mind. Until a couple days after the boba night, house feels too quiet. Dad's been moving slower, not angry, not even distant, just heavy. Like every sound has to push through molasses before it gets out of him. He barely touches his dinner, says he's tired, goes to bed early. Bro shrugs it off. Mom keeps up her smile, but I feel it pressing against my chest anyway. Next evening, I come home late from the library. Lights are off except for the thin crack under the garage door. Think he's just tinkering again, but something about the silence feels wrong. Open it slow. Smell of oil, faint hum of the old radio turned low. Dad's sitting on the workbench, shoulders hunched, envelope in one hand, beer in the other. Eyes red, not full on crying, but like he fought it back until it burned him dry. He notices me, wipes his face quick with the back of his hand, tries to straighten up. Hey kiddo. Long night? My stomach knots. I already know what's in that envelope, even before I see the red stamp on the front. I ask anyway, voice sharper than I mean. Is that the test? He doesn't answer, just taps the envelope against his knee. The flap, already torn, finally pushes it across the bench toward me without looking up. Hesitate, then flip it open. Lines and numbers blur together, but one phrase slaps me in the face. Paternity probability, 0.0%. The air drops out of me. I laugh. A stupid reflex, shaky and too loud in the quiet garage. These things, they mess up all the time, right? It's like those cheap ancestry kits. They glitch. Dad cuts me off, voice flat, steady. This wasn't a kit. This was the lab downtown. Chain of custody, certified. No glitch. The laugh dies in my throat. I search his face, hoping for anger, maybe even sarcasm, anything to hold on to, but he just looks tired, like he's been awake for years. Then he says something that makes my chest cave in. Last time I caught your mom with one of her old friends, it was at that motel off 9th Street. She said it wasn't what it looked like, cried so hard, swore on her mother's grave. I wanted to believe her. I did believe her. I guess I needed to. I freeze, the pieces colliding in my head. The friend he's talking about, someone I've known my whole life, someone who came to birthdays, barbecues. Feel bile climb my throat, stammer. You never said anything? He shakes his head, eyes fixed on the dent in the bench again. What was I going to do? Blow up the family over something I couldn't prove? I figured if she stayed, if she raised you, maybe it didn't matter. Maybe love was enough. His voice cracks on love, and that's somehow worse than if he'd shouted. I want to scream, tell him it's still enough. But the papers in my hand burn with the truth. Instead, I hear myself whisper, Dad, I didn't know. He gives a hollow chuckle, not unkind, just wrecked. Course you didn't. How could you? That was the point. I'm trembling now, gripping the envelope like it'll rewrite itself if I hold on hard enough. Before I can speak again, the side door creaks open. It's Mike, holding a six-pack. He stops dead when he sees us. His face tells me everything. He knows. Shit, he mutters. I didn't mean to interrupt. Dad sighs, rubs his temples. She deserves to hear it, Mike. Probably better from me than the gossip mill. My head snaps between them, anger boiling up. Hear what? Like the test wasn't enough? Mike sets the beers down, leans against the wall, eyes low. Look, your old man ain't crazy. We've all seen signs over the years. Times your mom disappeared for girls' weekends, times she came back different. Nobody said anything, because it wasn't our place. His voice tightens. But when that DNA kit flagged half-sibling, I knew he couldn't just ignore it anymore. And I was right. I glare at him, heat rising in my face. So what? You've been sitting around waiting to say, told you so? Playing detective in someone else's family? Mike doesn't flinch, just shrugs. Better ugly truth than pretty lies. I'd want a friend to tell me. Dad puts a hand up. Weary. Enough, Mike. She doesn't need your justifications. His eyes meet mine, watery but sharp. You are always mine in my heart. That part's never been in question. But blood says otherwise. My throat burns. I want to tell him he's wrong, that nothing changes, but the word 0.0% keeps flashing in my head like a neon sign. I shove the envelope back at him, harder than I mean to. This is bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. You raised me. That's what counts. He takes it, sets it down gently like it's glass. You'll believe that until you look at your mother the next time she smiles. Then you'll see it too. My chest caves in, tears sting, but I refuse to let them fall. I storm out before either of them can say more, slam the door hard enough to rattle the frame. Back in my room, I curl on the bed, phone buzzing non-stop with group chat notifications. Friends dropping memes, gossip, distractions. I stare at the screen, but all I can see is my dad's face, raw and broken in the dim garage light. For the first time, the word I used to mock men with, insecure, feels like a cruel joke because nothing about him tonight looked insecure. It looked like the ground had been yanked out from under him and he'd been falling ever since. Next morning, Mom's humming at the stove, flipping them like it's some sitcom breakfast. Dad sits at the table, coffee untouched, staring at the steam instead of her. I push food around my plate, can't swallow past the knot in my throat. Bro wanders in late, hair a mess, still half asleep. He grabs a pancake, chews slow, eyes flicking between Mom's too bright smile and Dad's silence. What's going on? You guys look weird? I jump in fast. Nothing. Dad's just tired from work. Dad doesn't correct me, just keeps staring at his coffee. Bro squints at me like he knows I'm covering, but he shrugs and sits down. Thought maybe last night in the garage was a nightmare, but then doorbell rings. Look outside. Dented black Honda again, parked bold as hell in our driveway. It's him. John. Mom's old friend. My skin goes cold. Walk in on them in the kitchen, Mom wiping her hands on a dish towel too many times, voice too bright. Oh, you remember John, right? He was just dropping something off. John leans against the counter like he owns it. Smile. I want to slap off his face. Says, she's grown. Looks just like... Cuts himself off when Dad comes in from the garage, grease on his hands, eyes sharp. Room freezes solid. Mom laughs too high, says, he was just leaving. Pushes John out the door like she's shoving shame into the trash. Door clicks shut, but silence stays thick as smoke. Dad finally speaks, voice low. So that's who it was. That's who you swore it wasn't. Mom snaps back quick. It was years ago. It doesn't matter anymore. He stands, every muscle tight, mutters, it mattered enough. Walks out the back door, no jacket, just leaves. Screen door slam rattles through my chest. Later that night, I hear drawers slamming. Peek down the hall. Dad's packing a duffel, tossing shirts. I whisper, where are you going? He doesn't look at me, just zips it up. Don't know yet. Lawyer first, then maybe Mike's couch. My throat burns. You're really leaving? He finally meets my eyes, raw and tired. Your mom made that choice a long time ago. I just didn't see it. Next day, Bro comes home from school, backpack slung low, face tight. He drops his notes on the counter, mutters, Ramirez asked again why our results didn't line up. Said maybe we mixed samples, or one parent's data wasn't real. He looks at me sharp, not joking this time. What did he mean by that? My stomach flips. I force a laugh. Dude, it's just a busted kit. Stop stressing. He stares at me for a beat longer than feels safe, then nods slowly, but the way he slams his bedroom door after tells me he doesn't buy it. Go to the kitchen, Mom's at the table with a half-packed suitcase by her chair. She's crying, muttering, it's still our family, it's still enough. I snap, louder than I mean, enough? You lied to him. You lied to me. She grabs my wrist. Desperate, I never lied about loving you. But the words feel cheap now, like loose change rattling in a drawer. That night, I sit in my room, scrolling group chat, friends dropping memes and gossip like usual. Screen light blurs from tears I didn't even notice falling. Dad's duffel by the front door in the morning. Mom's suitcase half zipped beside it. 2 exits, 2 parents, and me, caught in the middle like a bad coin toss. I want to scream, rewind, anything. Instead, I just sip cold coffee and wait for someone to move first. World feels broken, and all I can do is sit in the wreckage, pretending it's fine.